All right, 3Ms, we're on our third day of our financial unit and we're going to talk about present value. So for example, Nicholas opened an investment savings account where the interest rate is 5.75% per annum, compounded annually. He wants the amount to be $5,000 in 8 years. So what principal should he invest now? So Nicholas is going to invest a certain amount of money now, and he's going to save it and save it and save it, whoops, and save it and save it until 8 years from now it's $5,000. Think of a reasonable answer for this problem. How much should you have to put into the bank? It's going to collect interest for 8 years, but it's only getting 5.75%. So think about that for a second and we'll do the math. Are you ready? If we have a certain principal and I know that it is compound interest, then I know that I am going to multiply that principal by 1 plus, there's something hinky with the board today, 1 plus the interest rate to the number of compoundings. So we know that we're going to take that amount of money times 1 decimal, and I'm going to write that 5.75% as a decimal, which would be 1.0575 raised to the power of 8. And I know I want that to equal $5,000. So to calculate that principal, I'm going to do a simple division. Please try it as well to make sure your calculator is cooperative. I want to take both sides and divide by 1.0575 to the power of 8. Which gives me $3,196.88. How much interest will Nicholas accrue over the 8 years? Interest is the $5,000 that he ends up with, subtract what he had to put into it, which is $1,803 for doing nothing other than leaving your money alone and leaving it in the account. Okay, let's have a look at another one where Tony has $3,000 in the bank. He intends to buy a laptop and a printer and invest the remainder for 2 years, compounding monthly at an annual rate of 3%. So here we have time, the compounding period, and the rate. He wants to have $2,000 in his account 2 years from now. So in order to have $2,000 in his account, we are thinking a present value problem. How much do I need to invest now to have a certain amount if we want to have $2,000? And I know my annual interest rate is 3%, but it's being compounded monthly, I am going to have to change my I value from a yearly rate to a monthly rate. So the yearly rate is 0.03, 3%. And I want to make it a monthly rate, I'm going to divide by 12. You can just put it that way into your calculator, but let's write it as a decimal this time. That is 0.0025. Okay. 1 plus, I'll just write it as a decimal, sorry. 1.0025 per month. And how many times will it be compounded? It will be compounded monthly, but for 2 years. So my N value is 2 years times the compounding of monthly. So it will be an exponent of 24. So now carefully with my calculator, I have a division. 2,000 divided by 1,883.67. That doesn't make nearly as much interest as the last question does, but that should make sense to us. It's only 2 years. It's at a far smaller rate. So he needs $1,883.67 of that money to invest it. So he can spend the remainder, which was $3,000 in the account. He's going to invest $1,883.67 of it, and he can spend $1,116.33 on laptop.